Botswana Economic Transformation Program. This is a program that aims to ensure that innovation, enterprise, and local ambition fuel our journey to a new future of prosperity. We are building a political and economic position which will open doors to those, the investors, who are ready, willing, and able to build with us. This is a call to action.
We are focusing on a common agenda of the Africa we want, as we articulate it in Agenda 2063, and with it is implementation plan. We are making progresses, but we have a challenge.
Aspires to connect all the regions of Africa, to deepen economic integration and to boost intra-African trade and investment.
Welcome to The Informant, the podcast that talks about anything and everything. We cover from sports, religion, politics, social, you name it. I'm your host as ever, Doc McLeod. So without any further ado, let's delve right into it. Good day, my good people. I hope I find you well, believing you are having a splendid day. Right, I have got news for you. It's good news to other people, it's controversial news to others, but it's informative news. Otherwise, I can also say that it's challenging news that really needs to be considered. You need to take careful consideration after hearing this, and then make sure you pick the right side. The transcript is the same with all the African presidents. They want a free and independent Africa, a one-continent Africa. But it is the application and the action that is differing. Where could they be all going wrong, or where are they failing to actually meet a common ground for them to pursue this? You should know that under the African Union, Zimbabwe, I'm saying Zimbabwe, no. Africa has got one common agenda, one common goal, a united Africa by the year 2063. So this is what is happening behind the scenes. I want to talk firstly about the aspiring Zimbabwean presidential candidate, Nelson Chamisa, who has left so many people guessing, and I have on many occasions spoken against his silence, because I feel like he is not considering the people that follow him or the people that support him. In the last elections, vying for the presidential position, regardless of how the results came, I want to believe he had a minimum 2 million people that voted for him to be president. And that's not a small number. It's a massive number. And so when such people have actually placed their confidence in you and something goes wrong, I still want to remain convinced that it is the responsibility of the candidate to go back and address his situation to the people. Winning or losing, you still have got to make sure that your people are appraised as to the current position. Chamisa decided just to went quiet. He muted himself, disappeared off the scene, leaving people stranded. And as I call them now, those who used to follow Chamisa, I call them his orphans. These are people that were not left without anybody to follow. Right now, all of a sudden, he comes out and says he is coming to form a movement. A lot of debates and speculations have started to take place. Others saying, we don't know, you don't know what he's planning. We cannot expose what he's planning because the enemy will use that against him. At the very same time, we still need to trust in him. Put together with a signature by the advocate Tabani Mpofu, who says, having said all this, still the best horse to run with is Nelson Chamisa. Let me come. I'm not a person who just comes to entertain. I know most of the time, some of the things that I say don't sit well with people that follow a opposition or that follow the Nelson Chamisa personnel or person. The thing is, if I don't say such, the voiceless will not have a voice. But when I say things from an informed position, remember, this is the informant. I don't just speculate things. I always want to speak with the real players so that they feed me with the real information and serve it to you. Bitter or sweet, the information still remains correct and true. So it's not for people that use emotions that really needs to be hooked up to what I always say or to this channel, but people that wants to know the truth behind every move. I come to you openly and say, here now, for the first time ever, is the idea behind Nelson Chamisa saying he now wants to form a movement. I have seen people speculate, watching. Instead, I was doing my digging and I was doing my investigations and I was doing my inquiries. And it's all come to me what he meant by a movement. Let me explain before I go. Let me take you back. Let me take you back so that you understand what had actually happened before, which most of you know. Number one, Nelson Chamisa adopted a child or was blessed with a child or was given adoption to a child by the late former president of Movement for Democratic Change, the late Morgan Richard Tsvangirai. He was anointed, imparted, and also set into office as the leader of the MDC, a party that he went on to lose to another aspiring candidate of Douglas Monzore, who was within the very same party. It is in the process where he felt that he didn't have enough powers for him to fight for the party from Madam Kupe and Monzora. And Chamisa actually had to step out, thinking he was doing away with the trouble that came with the adoption. So we saw him for 9 months carry the pregnancy before he birthed his own vision, the Triple C, Chamisa Chete Chete, right? For that, we believed that that's his own DNA child, and he has got total ownership to that. Even if you look at the flag of that party, his face was the mark of it. Meaning to say, this part was all but 100% DNA to Nelson Chamisa. What then surprised a lot of people was when he lost the party to a pedophile in the form of Sengezo Shabangu, a man not known to many. He might have been known within the structures at the top, but he was not a popular person. If we talk of popular people, we can talk about people like Wende, we can talk about people like Tendai Biti, we can talk about people like Madam Kupe, we can talk about people like, these are the people that were known from the structures of MDC right through now to the structures of Triple C. So his name was not a name that I would say was in the top 20 or top 25. But the way he challenged it after stealing the baby of Nelson Chamisa's Triple C left a lot of people wondering. They could not understand. And from that day till now, he has since challenged Nelson Chamisa to come into open dialogue or even to come and carry an argument. But Nelson Chamisa has decided to keep quiet, leaving so many people confused. What is it that he's so much afraid that Sengezo Shabangu might expose? Why is it that Nelson Chamisa just lost power over his own birth baby vision of Triple C? He lost MDC. He didn't keep quiet about it, but he denounced it. He moved on to Triple C. He lost it. This time he doesn't want to talk about it. It is in the time of confusion that he got pregnant again. But this time, the pregnancy was not seen by a lot of people. And again, he aborted or he miscarried. This is the blue party that I'm talking about. People like Ostalos, his very close confidees, people that are always close to him, were going around the country trying to announce the birthing of the blue movement. But it did not show or receive a lot of support from people, and it just died a silent death. Having seen all these three just moved out of the way, he then comes just in the few months to announce that he is not coming to form a political party, but he is coming to form a political movement. This was heard by everyone on ZFM when he was being interviewed or speaking to Miss Red. We all listened to it very carefully, attentively. What we noted was he emphasized, if not double emphasized, that he was not coming to form a political party, but he was coming to form a movement. Where is this movement, and why is he not sharing it with people? Let me show you now what has happened, or what has been happening behind the scenes. With the sitting president of Zimbabwe, right? With the sitting president of Zimbabwe, Emmerson Dambudzo Mnangagwa, as the chairman of SADC, a lot was now having to be done under the carpet because they believe he was not buying into the idea. You look into South Africa, the big-mouthed, always outspoken Julius Malema had gone quiet about a lot of things. I have been given what they believe is the blueprint of everything. Get this now. Just recently, 2 days ago, a meeting was held in Zambia. Not in the capital city, but in Livingstone. And the American delegation had to be released to come and attend. And the president was not the instigator of the meeting, the Zambian president, Hakainde Hichilema. Instead, he was invited to what's already being tabled, and he had to accept the invite at short notice. Why would he drop everything, knowing that at the moment he has got an issue pertaining to the burial of the late former Zambian president, Edgar Lungu? He had to drop everything down and he had to go to Livingstone. Livingstone is just across the border of Zimbabwe, next door to Zimbabwe. I can even claim that Livingstone can be argued to be a part of Zimbabwe. So Livingstone, the borderline between Zimbabwe and Zambia, the president came and was seated in that meeting whilst everything was happening. Representatives were sent by America, and heading the delegation that was sent from America was Charlie Dean. Charlie Dean is an American who's known to specialize within the southern region of Africa, making sure that America has got its own eyes very open pertaining to everything that transpires within the southern African region. Charlie Dean has been there for a while, and he had a big delegation with him whilst they were discussing about the situation in Southern Africa. What is this situation in Southern Africa? The situation in Southern Africa is an agenda and an agreement that has been entered into secretly, privately, and is now supposed to be known publicly, that 3 countries have actually sat down and entered into an agreement to work as an alliance, as a movement. The 3 countries are Botswana, Zambia, and Namibia. The three presidents are Nandi Ndaitwa, Her Excellent, the president of Namibia, H.H. Hakainde Hichilema, the president of Zambia, and Duma Gideon Boko, the president of Zambia. These 3 nations went into an agreement to do what they call an open border agreement. What does it mean? It means to say between Botswana, Zambia, and Namibia, they are now opening borders and making sure that they've got a very good trade relationship. It means to say, if you are from Botswana, you can now go to Zambia without the need of a visa. You can now go to Namibia without the need of visa. Maybe even if you are doing business, let's say you do your stone polishing in Botswana, you can. Let's say you do your mining in Botswana, you can have a company that does stone polishing in Zambia without further surcharges and taxes between the nations. That's open trade within the 3. America is so shaken by this that it's trying by all means to stop it. Remember, there's an American military base in Botswana. They know definitely it's going to be challenged by the other nations. What does it mean? It means to say the extinction of the American control is now going to have to start to move out. Because these 3 nations, the minute they unite, chances are South Africa is going to join in. Chances are Zimbabwe is going to join in. Chances are Malawi, Mozambique, they are also all going to join into the same alliance. If this alliance is a success, of which I know it's going to be, I'll show you with the videos that I'm going to attach here, pertaining everything that has been said, everything that has happened, even the private meeting that took place. The videos, I'm going to share them. I want you to follow very closely because it's a story that's going to develop. These three have formed what they call a movement. All along, why SADC was being challenged by the Zimbabwe Republic, it is because Zimbabwe Republic was not buying into this open alliance of kind of partnership. Now these people who are sitting are believing that it is these liberation parties that are delaying the progress of the development of the Southern Africa, or if not, the whole of Africa. What does it? Why am I saying this? You will hear it from the words that have been said by Her Excellency Nandi Ndaitwah when she was addressing the delegates at some point. At the very same time, you will hear the very same words being aided by Duma Gideon Boko. All these three presidents have said it. I'm now made to believe that there was an agreement because they were aspiring that Chamisa, according to them, he had high chances of winning the elections, the foregone elections. So they had already tried to factor him in. No wonder why you see SADC tried their hardest to make sure that Chamisa be moved into the Zimbabwean government as the president. Because he hasn't managed in the time of the sitting president, who they challenged and failed, Emmerson Dambudzo Mnangagwa, in office both in the SADC and within the party of ZANU-PF, they are believing it's coming to an end. And Chamisa is still believing that he can now start to put pressure to the whole system using the connection or the movement that's already in motion. He was believing by now he could have been a part of this movement. So when he says we are not forming a party, we are forming a movement, he wants to pressure the sitting government using the alliance that have been formed between Botswana, Namibia, and Zambia. So right now, as we speak, it's just now a matter of time before you start to hear Chamisa talking about pushing Zimbabwe to join in the other three nations so that we have a borderless Southern Africa before the very same invite can be extended to other countries the length and breadth of Africa. You know, definitely in the Burkina Faso area there, the countries have become one. It's about 4 countries right now that have also become one. So if this also happens in Southern Africa, it means to say Africa slowly is taking itself back, reclaiming themselves back into position. And Chamisa has got this blueprint. And he is following very closely with the president that's already in office. Remember I told you, Her Excellency Nandi Ndaitwah, H.H. Hakainde Hichilema, and Duma Gideon Boko, they have already started and already they have got an agreement behind the scenes, which is now signed, not to be signed. It's an agreement that's already signed. So it's something that's already in motion. America is already stepping in to try and stop it because they know the minute this starts, it disempowers all their control within the continent of Africa. In other nations like Angola, just a few days ago, you will see that they have started to move out all the Chinese companies out of their country. And this is all happening, building up to what they are claiming is going to be a movement from Cape to Cairo. So when he talks about the movement, this is the vision. Don't misinterpret it any other way. But this is where he wants to plug in. He knows once countries like Zimbabwe are put under pressure by these three, and countries like South Africa are most likely to join in, because this is what every citizen is expecting. So what I'm saying is this transcript is the same, but it is the implementation and the application where they are differing. I want to believe at this point in time, in the next chapter of politics, we all now need to be very open-minded. The talk of people wanting to sell the continent of Africa back to the former colonizers, I always know, my father always said this, Honorable Chris Muchangwa, he is always stating this, as a liberation war veteran, and also as a member of the Liberation War Party, he's always saying we don't want our continent to be sent back to the former colonizers. This is just a political statement to defend his position. But the script, like I said, it is the same. Everyone wants to be liberated. Everyone wants to be free. And here is the script pertaining the movement that's about to sweep Africa. Nelson Chamisa shouldn't continue to hide these things from people. Now the information is out. We've got it. How did I manage to get out to it? Remember, there's this burial feud of the late former Zambian president Hakainde Hichilema. So it is during the time of conversation that they pointed me to everything that's happening. And then I requested for the videos and they were sent to me. And I was like, okay, now I've got first-hand information. Instead, let me break the news about what is being said about the formation of a movement in Zimbabwe. Julius Malema from South Africa is also going to be singing from the same chorus book. It is all about a borderless Africa. And it's now, instead of being implemented by what we call the powerful economies of Southern Africa, which is number one, South Africa and Zimbabwe. Instead, it is now being implemented by Botswana, Zambia, and Namibia. They have now become the pioneers of non-border control, non-taxation between countries, fair trade within countries, free movement within the countries, and this definitely will spiral into Zimbabwe, and it will also spiral into South Africa before we talk of countries like Mozambique. So very soon, a lot is going to be happening. So when you hear Nelson Chamisa talk about the formation of the movement, just know that I have broken the news arm to you. This is The Informant, your trusted source and your trusted channel. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe as I give you in detail pertaining to everything that's now being planned. So Nelson Chamisa, your script is out. Instead, we have to read it for you because you tried to keep it private. As of now, enjoy your day. I'm out.
The Botswana Economic Transformation Program. This is a program that aims to ensure that innovation, enterprise, and local ambition fuel our journey to a new future of prosperity. We are building a political and economic position which will open doors to those, the investors, who are ready, willing, and able to build with us. This is a call to action for thinkers, investors, entrepreneurs, and institutions with bold ideas that can spark real economic progress. The Botswana Economic Transformation Program will, in a nutshell, engage projects or ideas that unlock new engines of growth across the country, bring fresh thinking to old challenges, create jobs, and expand opportunities for the people of Botswana. We trust that it will also position Botswana competitively in the region and globally, and support inclusive and sustainable development, not just growth. Botswana critically needs investment in water and sanitation infrastructure. This summit couldn't have come at a more opportune time for Botswana. As we intensify the involvement of investors in resolving the water challenges I've enumerated, these are opportunities for African and global investors to partner with us for shared returns. Let us therefore take this occasion, take advantage of it as custodians of a shared and precious inheritance to ensure that we act collectively We act for the best interests of the African continent and each other, and we provide our countries, our continent, with the water that it needs to thrive. So thank you. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for the privilege of your company here today, the pleasure of your kind attention. Thank you so very much.
We are focusing on a common agenda of the Africa we want, as we articulated in Agenda 2063, and with it is implementation plan. We are making progresses, but we have a challenge because one factor in our first 10 years of implementation of Agenda 2063 is the silencing of the guns. But unfortunately, we are moving very slow. But we still believe we have a chance to reach that stage.
Namibia, Zambia, Botswana. 3 nations, once divided by colonial borders, have made a move so bold, so unexpected, that it sent shockwaves through foreign capitals from Washington to London. An overnight alliance has been forged, a pledge for a borderless Africa, where people, goods, and dreams will move freely. But here's the twist: as dawn broke over Lusaka, the United States was already scrambling. Envoys were dispatched.
I'll be very brief, except to say that this experience is very valuable to us. As a leader of the Aspen Institute and as a former member of Congress, I have spent a great deal of time working on issues as it relates to sub-Saharan Africa. Our program has been to Africa several times over the years, and we have made this a priority. Quite often, the United States is accused of not showing up enough, that we are not, we are not present enough. And by proof of this delegation, we just want everyone to know that we are here, we care, we're engaged, and we are interested. And we want to further develop this wonderful partnership between our 2 nations. We are here in large part to discuss issues of global health, food insecurity and malnutrition, agriculture, development assistance, and also the general political environment in this part of the world. So we are here to learn, and we are been just so pleased by the warmth and the hospitality of the Zambian people. Could not be any.
Today marks the first sitting of the National Convention of the National Dialogue, a space where we confront our realities openly, respectfully and constructively. This is not a partisan platform. This is a national platform. Here, no voice is too small. No perspective is too inconvenient to be heard. We are gathered to listen to each other, to understand one another, and to chart a common path forward for our country. We are meeting at a time of profound challenges. Men of South Africa fear us as men in the streets, in the classrooms, and even in our homes. We need to ask ourselves those questions. We also need to ask ourselves, why do so many people live in abject poverty and so few live lives of opulence? Why, after decades of democracy, are the prospects of a white child so much better than those of a black child? We need to ask ourselves that. We also need to ask ourselves, why do women get paid less than men for the same work? That's what we need to ask ourselves.